A few of my friends have called me out for glorifying the fintech industry with all the videos I put out about fintech. Their argument is that the grass always seems greener on the other side till you actually jump the fence and realize that all that glitters is not gold. As much as I wish I could double down and tell you the fintech industry is the greatest, and if you jump in it's going to be the best career move you've ever made, that would not be entirely truthful. As with any career path or job role, there are challenges. Although the fintech startup space can be very fulfilling and rewarding, it definitely isn't for everyone. So in this video, I'm going to highlight some of the downsides of working in the fintech startup and some of the differences to expect and be cognizant of before making that decision to join a fintech or tech startup. If you're keen, then stay tuned. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeremy, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so because on this channel I speak about agile transformation, digital strategy, and personal development. Now, YouTube tells me that 84% of you guys that watch my videos haven't subscribed, which explains why so many of you keep asking me to share the links to the videos. So let me take a second to share for those who may not know how to subscribe, because that's the only reason I could think of why you haven't subscribed already. So you like the video by clicking the thumbs up icon right below the screen, then subscribe by hitting the red subscribe button, which turns it gray, and you hit the bell icon next to it to turn on notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Got it? Great. I promise once we hit 1,000 subscribers, maybe I'll stop bugging you to subscribe. The first downside of working in a fintech startup is the constant change. Fintechs are generally a lean team and change a lot. Some people don't like the high change, high velocity environment and find it difficult to adapt and learn on the go. It's not wrong or right, but it's worth noting. The environment is great for self-starters who are comfortable throwing themselves into a bit of chaos and ambiguity, but it's not for everyone. Typically in the fintech, there are frequent changes to the team structure, titles, responsibilities, long and short-term goals, and the overall direction. You tend to hear the word pivoting used quite often, and this is because fintechs and startups generally undergo a sequence of rapid experimentation on various initiatives to meet customer needs and deliver faster to the market. This might mean you spend time working on a number of initiatives that don't ever make it to the market or are dropped halfway. Decisions are usually made as a matter of urgency, and all of this creates the constant pace of change that can quite frankly be overwhelming if you're not cut out for it. Fintech startups challenge you to adapt very quickly to the pace and plan to replan, which may be great for some, but a nightmare for others. So be ready for change if you decide to join a fintech startup. Next is the heavy workload. Smaller fintech startups usually have fewer resources and have to do more with less as the company grows. This can build a great depth of experience and resourcefulness, but can also become very exhausting for you. Most staff of fintechs are having to wear two hats at a time, and you may find yourself having to perform an additional role that is not directly in line with your area of specialization. Your job description is not going to be strictly followed, and your KPIs may be unclear. Despite the fact that most fintech startups employ remote or flexible working in line with promoting a healthier work-life balance, your work-life balance may not really be balanced. You are likely to find yourself working long hours simply because of the responsibility placed on you. For some, this might be a benefit, but for others, this can cause work-related stress. Burnout and stress are common in the fintech startup world, so it's best that you prioritize your mental and physical health as you work to prevent these things from happening to you. These days, most companies are beginning to prioritize helping staff manage their stress level, so it's definitely getting better. Next is job insecurity. According to the Wall Street Journal, 75% of VC-backed fintech startups fail, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 50% of startups make it past the first 5 years of business. Now, with such a statistic, you can naturally expect not to have the type of job security that you would have in an incumbent institution that has been around for several years. However, bear in mind that even the most established institutions were also startups at some point and also subject to similar statistics. Fintechs are more susceptible to regulatory shutdowns and pulling out of territories, which causes them to lay off staff and have frequent staff redundancies. Additionally, most fintechs are at the mercy of venture capital funding. Once they secure the high investments, they hire rapidly, and if they are unable to become profitable during the period, then they need to secure more funding. If the founders can't bring in a fresh round of cash, that results in massive layoffs, and even people with high demand skills like data analysts or software developers might find themselves out of a job. It's important for you to weigh the risk and reward before joining a fintech so you don't get shocked when a massive change occurs that might shake up your career. Now, because of this, startups typically have a high staff turnover rate, and people usually don't stay as long as they would in traditional institutions. Next, we have a lack of structure. Fintech startups tend to lack the structures present in the long-standing incumbent institution. Rather than having a clear hierarchy of power and influence, as with more established corporate institutions, it can sometimes be tough to identify who oversees what in a fintech or startup. The average age in a startup is also pretty low because fintech startups are usually considered cool and they strive for innovation. However, this means that the experience that comes with age may be lacking, and there may be a level of unprofessionalism present. Startups also hire and promote awkwardly, and you might find people in roles where they don't belong. Product people in marketing roles, marketing people in sales roles, and inexperienced developers as managers. When these decisions are made because of their skill and confidence, it can be a good thing. However, when they are made because of time or financial urgency, the chain of command begins to look strange. So if you aren't used to taking instructions or receiving direction from someone with less experience, or used to watching 25-year-olds managing entire departments, then you might be in disbelief during your time as an employee of a fintech startup. Finally, we have limited regulatory or compliance knowledge. Fintech is a combination of the industries of finance and technology. These two are heavily regulated fields. Most fintechs early on lack the knowledge of the regulatory environment for both the finance and technology industries. This exposes them to the risk of potential litigation, fines, and queries from regulatory bodies. This is also tied to the point about the insecurity you face when working with a fintech startup. Now, the fintech can be shut down abruptly for violating regulatory policies that they weren't even aware of. If you happen to be part of the managerial staff, you also face potential sanctions and your reputation could suffer some damage in the process. Therefore, it becomes key that you check whether the fintech startup you wish to join is in good standing with the authorities and has a good reputation in the market in which it operates before deciding to make the transition to a fintech or tech startup. So friends, those are some of the negative realities of working in a fintech startup. Despite all the potential upsides and benefits you can derive in the fintech industry, which is still on the rise and will get even bigger, you should stay very cognizant of the fact that there are potential downsides as with any industry. I hope you found this video valuable, and if you did, a comment and a like is always greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing week and cheers guys.